So bringing your awareness here, press into your feet and lift into a low ramp position. So you're just gonna lift that tailbone off of the ground and kind of direct that tailbone towards the feet. Let everything start to get just a little bit longer for you here. You feel your glutes firing up, feel everything engaging. Now that I found the class lesson plan, I'll come to the mat and join you all. And so just holding this low bridge, you should already feel a lot starting to happen in the glutes. Let's wiggle our left foot a little more center and bring the right heel on top of that left thigh. Press your right heel into the left thigh and just start to feel a little more expansion for the hip. Now, it's really not about your hips going up high here. In fact, you might even be able to go lower, point your tailbone more, and just feel more of that direction and firepower towards that heel. Now, from here, so we're not in the figure four yet. We still have like our right knee over top of the right hip, because from here, I'm gonna have you cross your right ankle and now go into the figure four. So externally rotate that right hip and just feel that little opening there. Again, you can go a little bit lower with your hips, but really direct your tailbone towards your heels. Then take your left hand up towards the ceiling, spread your fingers. We'll take our right hand and pull back on those left fingers with the palm reaching up. Inhale, fill it all up. And exhale, breathe it out. Take another inhale. Really breathe that space into the wrists and pull down into the core. And notice too here, with your right hip opening up, if the pelvis is dipping towards the ground. So we still want to keep this evenness. So don't let that right side of the pelvis, the structure that houses that hip joint, drag down towards the floor. Let's release that left wrist and we'll bring it onto the right foot. So uncross your right ankle, bring the right foot onto the ground, take your left ankle and bring it just on top of the right thigh, right above where it meets the knee. Now you're not rolling the left thigh out yet. Instead, you're just tractioning. So you're pushing your left heel into that right thigh, allowing it to fire up the glute to root the tailbone. Things get a little bit longer there. Feel an inhale. Take another inhale. And exhale. So now we'll start to roll that left thigh out. As you externally rotate it, you can bring that left ankle a little bit more on top of that right thigh. And then from here again, feel the glutes are firing up for you. We'll take that right hand up to the ceiling. We'll pull back on the right wrist. Really send that palm up towards the ceiling. Feel everything's opening up here. Breathe some space into that right wrist. Still squeeze your glutes. So I know you're focusing on your wrist, but keep your mind at those glutes and don't let that left side of the pelvis dip down, but still keep it in line with the right side. So just notice if like you're starting to twist in the low back, right? Don't do that. Then uncross your left ankle, release your right hand. We'll bring both feet onto the ground and we'll all lower down, upper, middle, and lower back. All the way down onto the ground here. Let's take our hands behind our head, get our fingers interlaced here. You'll start off with your feet on the floor. So the hands are just behind the skull, helping to just support the neck. We want our neck to stay kind of relaxed here. We're gonna really work the abdominal muscles of the belly. Inhale, fill it up. Exhale, draw your belly button into the low back and just lift your shoulder blades off of the ground. So the feet are still on the floor. You still feel the sacrum, that's the back of your pelvis on the floor. And you want, again, to try and relax your head into your hands. I know it's tough at first, so don't be too worried about it. Just do your best. And if you need little inhales while you're up here, feel free to keep that breath going. But we'll all take a big inhale and lower down now. Exhale and lift, just another one like that. Pausing for even just a little bit longer than we normally do, just so you can experience this pause, right? It's challenging. It can be a little stressful, but we get through it and everything's okay at the end of it. So if you need to breathe while you're here, feel free to do those breaths, but still hold that core strong. Strong core can breathe. We'll inhale and lower. Nice job. Exhale and lift. Everything gathers together. Bring your left knee over top of the left hip. And just let it pause there for a moment. And then take your left foot down, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift, everything gathers together. You'll bring your right knee now over top of the right hip. And you can look at your toes too and spread them like we did our fingers when we stretched them. Bring the right foot down, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift, everything gathers together, left knee over left hip and right hand on top of the left thigh. Now push these two together and really feel some like pulling down into the belly. That's good stuff. You're gonna bring your left foot down, right hand comes back, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift, so everything gathers together. Doesn't matter if the shoulder blades come high, bring the right knee over the right hip and press that left hand on top of the right thigh. So it's just trying to stay off those shoulder blades. Again, they don't have to be high. We actually just want to pull into the belly with this. And we'll bring our right foot down, bring the left hand behind the head, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift, everything gathers together. Bring your left knee over the left hip, bring your right thigh on top of that left hand, really press them, and then see if you can kick your right leg forward. So use that energy of the press to kick the leg now. It's like, yeah, a lot, right? Bring that right knee down, bring that left foot down, bring the right hand back, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift, everything gathers together. Right knee over right hip, and then left hand on top of that right thigh. Now press them so much that you can free up that left leg to just kick forward and stay off the shoulder blades. Really nice job here. Left foot comes down, left hand comes back, right foot comes down and unwind, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift. We're gonna kind of put it all together here. So shoulder blades come up, left knee on top of that left hip, bring that right hand on top of that left thigh and kick that right foot forward. So really kick it forward here and then bring your right foot down, bring your left foot down, right hand comes back. Don't lower the shoulders though, bring the right knee over the right hip, left hand to that right thigh, kick the left foot forward, scoop the tailbone, pull in, left foot comes down, right foot comes down, left hand comes back, inhale and lower. Let's wiggle the feet wide and we'll do our drop off. So knees will come to the right and we'll press the inside of the left foot down on the ground. Squeeze your left glute and root your tailbone towards your heel. So let the belly pull in. You can even reach the left arm over and frame out the left ear. It can be nice, but if it feels like too much opening or you're really popping your ribs, you can keep it down by your side, maybe even on your hip point. Give your glute something to push against. Let's inhale, bring it through center. We'll drop off the other way. So you're pressing your right heel into the ground. You squeeze your right glute and then direct your tailbone towards your heel. Let that open up the hip point here. Take a big inhale. Again, you could reach the arm up, but you certainly don't have to, especially if you feel like you still need some time to open up the side of the ribs. We're about to get that in a second. Bring yourself through center and come around on the hands and knees. So we're gonna come onto our hands and knees. We're gonna do a little bit of a different warming up, but it'll help prepare us for this big move that we have today with our balanced leg transitions. So you start off on your quadruped, but have you keep your right hand down to start, but bring your left forearm onto the ground. So you have your right palm and your left elbow kind of lined up with each other. You're on the knees here. You're going to kick your right leg back and then extend and open it up a little bit here. So it's kind of like a little kickback and external rotation. Then you'll bring your right knee just back down to touch. So it's a little kick back and then bringing it down to touch. A little kick back and down to touch. So here we are actually training and moving a little bit of movement in the hip as well as movement in the pelvis together. We're moving our right hip back with a little leg extension, help with the hamstrings there. And we are getting a little bit of contralateral rotation, I think, in our left side of the pelvis. I'll come back next week and correct myself if I was wrong about that. Or you can write to me. Well, I'll send it to you guys in an email. All right, keep rooting your tailbone, keep kicking that leg. Let's just get 2 and 1. Woo. And actually, let's come on to both of our forearms before we change sides. Just like hover your right knee and let's circle the right hip. So we were moving the pelvis before, but don't move your pelvis anymore. Now just move your femur bone in the hip socket and take it the other way. Okay, closing the window because trash is here. All right. Then once you get both directions, let's take it on to the other side. So you'll have your right forearm down, your left palm is down, the elbows line up. Again, the right knee will stay down. We're gonna extend the left leg back and then just kind of lift the left side of the pelvis on top of the right side of the pelvis. If you've ever done half moon, this is pretty much the movement that's happening there. So we're gonna bring that left knee down, a little touch, and then extend it back. Left knee down, a little touch, and extend it back. Now, I guess I'll say, like, I'd rather your neck kind of relax here than you feel like you're really lifting and overly using those neck muscles. Neck's interesting. Some of those muscles are really underactive and we need to fire them up, and some of them are overactive. Well, big surprise there, right? We all got our little imbalances, all our little stories, our lives leading up to this moment. Let's take two more. Extend your left leg back. Glutes are on. Extend your left leg back. Glutes are on. Left knee comes down. And again, let's bring both forearms down and we'll hover our left knee, circle your leg bone inside the hip socket. So what you want to do is try and keep the structure around your hip socket, go the other way, really steady. So that's your pelvis. And where your leg bone meets the hip socket, that's the actual hip. So move that leg bone inside the hip joint. All right, bring both your knees down, forearms are down, tie the fingers together or keep them apart. Palms are down, elbows are underneath the shoulders. Relax your neck, tuck your toes, push in the forearms, push into the toes, lift your pelvis up high in dolphin pose. So you're extending through your legs and you're spreading your toes and relaxing your neck here. Really good. Bring your left foot a little bit more into the center, lift your right leg. Heel is just in line with your hips. Bend your right knee, and again, just roll your right thigh outward. So we're just gonna hold this for a little bit. Holding that right thigh out, keeping the belly on. This is hip external rotation. We'll find this later in the flow, but just getting familiar with it while we're lighting up the core. And so promised, I would get you more side lengthening. This dolphin is really gonna open up those sides. Bring your right foot down and the left leg lifts. So heels just in line with the hip. Then bend the left knee and roll your left thigh out. I really like getting hip external rotation in dolphin because it makes it a lot harder to turn your pelvis and compensate for that. So you can really get into the hip here. Keep pushing into your forearms. You might need to wrap your elbows in a little bit closer. That's a-okay. Push more into them. One more breath, and then bring your left foot down. Lower your knees. We'll come to a child's pose before we set up for some wall work. In your child's pose, your forehead can just be down. You could always roll your wrists, whatever you like there. Maybe take one more breath. You can always kind of like move your head from side to side, massaging your forehead on the ground there. It's a good one. And then when you're ready, make your way up. And we'll find ourselves either on the wall. A couch can work too. You just want to make sure that you get your feet to the very edge of that surface. Sometimes people will be walked really far back. So, you can see how that might not be as effective. What we're doing is training our body to get a little bit more used to being upside down against the wall. So this is called down dog or dolphin on the wall. You could be on your hands or your forearms. The setup's the same. You bring your feet to the wall, measure it out. You want to make sure your legs are like going towards straight. But I'll say this, like if your legs are straight and you find you're really rounded or it's super tight in the back, here's your first signal, like bend your knees a little bit to get to the spot where you can actually keep your core on and keep your spine long with its natural curves. Then you'll measure out with your hands the sides of the hips. So hands will stay in place, but we're gonna turn around into down dog. Keep the hands in the same spot, but now you're facing the floor. You're gonna tuck your toes and bring your heels against the wall. Before you actually go up the wall, you're gonna wanna push into your hands and grab with the fingertips. Feel like you could dial your hands outward. They won't actually move on you, but it'll help to secure your shoulder heads. And if you wanna do forearm stand practice, you just bring your elbows down just about where your palms just were. So then from here, pull the ribs in and walk your feet up slowly up the wall. Extend your hips so that they get kind of over those palms. Keep the belly in. And this will help strengthen the shoulders. We're practicing being upside down. Keep breathing. Keep grabbing with the floor. Keep pushing into the hands. You're also lengthening the back line of the body. So like if you're someone who experiences a lot of that tightness in the back chain, then getting on your hands, pressing those feet into the wall, it's going to do so much to open up this whole back line of the body, because we're getting feedback into the arms, into the upper core, into an area of the body that normally is not getting a lot of feedback with the arms down by our side. So quick check-in again, relax your neck, push into those hands, the forearms, light up those shoulders, feel the ribs pulling in. You might even lower a leg and pull it towards you. It's a fun one. Really challenge your core ability. Ooh. Oh. All right. Really good job there, everybody. I think the garbage truck is gone, so we can let the air back in. And come to the top of your mat. Roll your shoulders a couple times. And we'll get ourselves ready to go to the moon together. What year did we go to the moon? 1969. That's right, a little influenza reference for you, all you even Stevens kids out there. Leave a little space at the top of the mat. Let's find our mountain pose, standing tall at the top of the mat. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. This is your rocket pose, actually. Arms up today. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands come down or fingertips come down. Step the right foot back. Bring your right knee down under your hip. You can untuck the toes and inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Keep the front line of the body drawn in and get long through the sides. Hands come down, tuck the back toes, step back into plank. Lower the knees. You could choose to go without it if it's better for you, but for most of us, this core will light up when we get those knees on the ground, and lower slowly with the head of the arm bones lifted. Pull back your hands for cobra. Your chin stays tucked in, grip with those fingertips, and then press and lift into downward facing dog. Press your hands into the floor. Walk those feet in a little bit, get long in the spine. Hands and feet are pressing into the ground equally. Step your right foot forward. Try not to pick up the hands until you lower the left knee. Untuck the toes and inhale. Now reach the arms forward and up. Pull the front line of the body in. Keep that back left glute working. Feel the top of your foot press into the floor a little bit here. Let that lengthen the spine. Oh, I can feel it. Hands come down, fingertips or palms. Left foot steps to meet the right at the top of the mat. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at your hips, your fingertips or your palms come onto the ground. Left foot steps back, left knee lowers. You can keep the toes tucked. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Gather that breath, let it lengthen the sides. Hands come down, step back into plank. Exhale, lower the knees, lower all the way to the floor. As you're lowering, you're pressing actively into your hands. Pull back your hands for cobra, root your tailbone and lift the belly. And then lift downward facing dog. Pelvis comes up. Try not to shift too much weight backwards. Left foot steps forward, right knee comes down. Try not to pick up the hands until you inhale, arms reach forward and up. Now you pick them up. Right glute is on, toes are tucked, everything's working. Hands come down, load them. Right foot steps to meet the left. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. We'll add on there. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Hands come down. Right foot steps back. Toes can stay tucked. Right knee comes down. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Bring the right hand in front of the right shoulder and just take your left hand onto that right shoulder joint. You're gonna pull that right arm into that shoulder socket, then bring your left hand down onto the shoulder blade, the rib cage here. So right where that shoulder blade's meeting the rib cage, pull it down a little bit towards your hips. We really help to secure the shoulder in place. Bring your right hand down underneath that right shoulder. Spin your right foot out a little bit, kind of like a bicycle kickstand, and send your left leg back, modified side plank. So you want to make sure that right palm directly underneath the right shoulder here. Press into your hand, grab the floor with your fingertips. Your metacarpals, right where your fingers plug into your palm, press these things down into the ground. Do not let them lift up. Now from here, start to lift and lower your left leg. I want you to keep rooting your tailbone towards your heel. Keep pulling the belly in. It's like you have a zipper down at your hips. You're trying to zipper that all the way up to your chin and hold that zipper in. Don't let the stuffing spill out. Keep pushing in your hand. Your right palm won't move, but feel like you could dial it out to the right. This will help get that shoulder on the back ribs. And then hold your left leg up, step your left foot up to your right hand and open up for goddess. So we're gonna do a big external rotation in that right leg. land the heels down. Hands are gonna come to either side of the pelvis. You might be really wide and low in your goddess. A little PSA too, especially if I have any like fellas out there who are taking the classes. Just from my experience, goddess might look more like a narrow stance with a wider base. That is great too. Just get some kind of external rotation and some kind of lowering. What we don't want to do is spill our hips forward and spill out the ribs. So where you're holding it here now, we're going to do a little bit of pelvic movement. We're going to lift the right side of the pelvis, a little elevation there. We're going to lift the left side of the pelvis, a little elevation. It'll just be a little back and forth. A little movement of the pelvis around those femur bone heads. So femur bone's that big leg bone there. And again, your hip is actually where the leg plugs into the structure of the pelvis. So what you're moving right now, this is called pelvic movement, because what you're doing is you're moving the structure that houses the hip joint around the leg bone. All right, one more elevation to the left, one more elevation to the right, whichever one was second. We'll do it on the other side anyway, and bring your hands to the side. Go ahead, windmill your hands to the top of the mat and step your right foot to meet your left. Hinge at your hips. Exhale, inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hands come down. Step the left foot back. Left knee comes down. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. You're back in that low lunge. Left hand comes in front of the left shoulder. Right hand comes onto that left shoulder joint. Pull the left arm bone into that shoulder socket. Then take your right hand and bring it just to the shoulder blade. Pull your left shoulder blade down and hug it on to those back ribs. Bring your left hand down inside the right foot. Really plug that on. Kick your left foot back just enough. It's like a bicycle kickstand, and send your right leg to the back of the mat. It's on the floor at first, so you can bring your gaze to your left palm. Make sure, again, the metacarpals, right where those fingers plug in, are on the ground. Fingertips are gripping too. You're plugging that hand into the ground, and you feel like you could dial your left hand out to the left. That should help you feel your left rib hug on more. Again, zipper up the front, and then lift the right leg. Then lift and lower it. We'll just get a little lifting and lowering going here. Core is on, tailbone's rooted, belly's drawing in. Pressing into the ground here, get that feedback into the shoulder. Grip with the fingers on the floor. Really nice. Don't let the core go. I know as this glute medius, these side hip muscles tire, they're going to start to recruit the low back and even some of the abdominals and obliques to do it for them. Just try to hold them steady, let them stabilize, and let your glute medius be a mover for right now. Hold your right leg up, step that right foot up to the top of the mat, and turn and open to goddess. So the left thigh gets a big, huge external rotation again. Feet might be closer, you might be higher up. Keep your pelvis neutral, both hands on either side of that pelvis. You can always go a little wider and go a little further out. But notice when you start to, I like this term, I heard from one of my teacher trainee friends from the last one I was in with Laura's training. Don't spill your flower pot out. So your pelvis is like a little flower pot, and don't, mess that wonderful flower up. Go ahead, just keep that soil nice and steady. And let's get a little pelvic movement again. So again, we'll elevate the left, and then we'll kind of bring that back into the middle, and then we'll elevate the right. And we'll side to side. And on this side, you might even notice like, do I have more elevation on one side than the other? For sure, probably at least a little bit. Maybe it's not noticeable. Keep your tailbone rooting, keep yourself moving. You should be feeling some different muscles lighting up on the sides of your hip as you do these little elevations and depressions. There's different, muscles that attach to the pelvis and down into the legs and the knees that can be responsible for these little elevations. Hold the ribs in too, so don't let those ribs pop. And one more time to the right. Bring your pelvis into that neutral. We'll windmill the hands to the front, land them. Step your left foot to meet your right, hinge at the hips, top of the mat. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hands come down. Step, hop back, plank pose. Lower your knees, or you don't have to, lower all the way to the ground. Head of the arm bone stay lifted. Pull back your hands for cobra, inhale, and lift, downward facing dog. We can coil and spring or breathe in our down dog. So breathe in your down dog with the weight equal between the hands and the feet, or bring the feet together. This is optional. You'll bend your knees, so your butt back to your heels and push through your toes. Bend your knees, send your butt back to your heels, push through your toes, bend your knees, butt back to your heels, maybe push off your toes. Otherwise, you're breathing strong and steady in your down dog, filling up your back. With every inhale and exhale, pulling into the belly. Come to the top of the mat. Hands are on the ground until you're ready to stand up tall in your rocket pose. Inhale, take off. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Coming in for a landing. Hands land. Feet go back. It's like a sprawl. Plank pose. Lower, knees are not. Cobra or locust. So arms can stay by your side near the ribs, or they can reach back. Hands come down. Press. Downward facing dog. Bring it back. Again, if you can come together, breathe in your down dog, or bend and straighten and push. Coil and spring and push. Maybe you start to feel a little bit more lift, that pelvis over top of the shoulders. Sometimes you just pop up, kind of surprise yourself. Come on up to the top. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Feel free to go with like 3 or 4 more sun salutation A's. If you're watching this on recording, we'll lower. Otherwise, this will be our last one. Cobra, pull back, lift, downward facing dog. So, never gonna deny you as many sun salutations as you want. Check in with your downward facing dog. So weight is equal in the hands and the feet here. Pressing into those palms, hips lift high. Right foot is down, lift your left leg up. Remember your dolphin pose. So we'll try not to actually move the structure of our pelvis. Ooh, I just heard a pop. I hope that wasn't bad. We'll bend the left knee. So there you go, people. Don't do it. Don't do it without control. And we'll externally rotate that left hip inside that left side of the pelvis. So in your left hip socket, feel the left femur bone moving outward. This nice opening here. Again, try not to make the space by lifting the pelvis, but really your pelvis stays in line with the floor and just the hip is moving open. Now, we've done this earlier this week, so if you came to Core Matrix, you'll remember this. Otherwise, it'll be brand new. One more breath here. And then step your left foot towards your hand and rise up for Warrior 2. Follow the right arm around and gather here. So we'll take 2 breaths here in Warrior 2. I want you to hold your ribs in. Fill up the sides of the body. Exhale, like breathe it down into your legs. Really let that stabilize your pelvis. One more here. We'll do 3 transitions between those 2. Smoother though, and more quickly. So we'll bring the hands back to the top of the mat. Right toes turn to point towards the top again. Left leg goes up and back. Bend the left knee, open up the hip. Step the left foot towards the hands. Rise up, follow the right arm into Warrior 2. Left leg is forward. Hands come back down, top of the mat. Turn the right toes, left leg goes up. Bend the left knee, open the hip. Feel that little pull on the outside of the left hip. Left foot steps forward, Warrior 2 on that left leg. Right arm follows and leads the way. One more time, down with the hands, like a little windmill. Left leg goes up, bend the left knee, open the hip, push into your right toes. Left foot steps, Warrior 2, rise on up. Pause here again. Gather with an inhale. And then we'll do reverse warrior. Reach the left arm up. I like my right hand in front of my chest to help keep me lifted, but commonly the right hand bracing is really good too. We'll inhale, come back through center, Warrior 2. Forearm on your left thigh, a warrior variation here. Reach the right arm over the right ear. Give me 2 more like that. Inhale, come through center, exhale. Use the pulling in of the front body to create the space in the side body. Come back through center, forearm on thigh. Right arm is up and the glute root. Come back through, inhale. Left arm reaches up. You come back through one more time. Left arm to thigh and the right arm reaches either up or over. The real key here is squeeze your right butt cheek and let that really secure you and open up those side ribs. Oh. Then sweep your right arm down. We'll take a side lunge to the right, parallel the feet, sit back in the right hip, come to the left, sit back into the left hip, side lunge to the left. Go back and forth between those 2 a few times. I like taking my thumbs and hooking them into the hip crease, right where those legs meet the hips, and I kind of pull them back. That can really help that centering. All right, one more time to the right. As you come to the left this time, walk the hands back around. We'll step the left foot back in plank. Lower, knees are not all the way to the ground. Let's go goalpost arms in cobra. So bring your elbows next to your shoulders. You can make little fists, palms are down. You can keep your forehead down the whole time if you like, but tuck your toes. Inhale, lift your forearms, root your tailbone towards your heels, and lift your belly up into your low back. You might get so much energy that starts to lift your chest as well, but don't lift your chin so the forehead can stay down. You don't have to have it so that the chest is lifted. One more breath here. This is so good for our shoulders. I know. Bring it down. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Press downward facing dog. I have the same thoughts when my teachers do these things in the classes I take with them. Lift the right leg, bend the right knee. I'm just like you. We'll push into our left big toe. Externally rotate the right thigh here. So we're gonna breathe with this one a couple of times. I want you to really feel your right hip getting the opportunity to open through its own strength. So we're not pulling on it with another set of muscles in the upper core. Instead, we are really allowing this right hip to open up through its own strength. And you can bend your left knee more. You might even scoot the left foot a little bit closer. Keep the weight equal between the hands and feet. One more breath here. Breathe into the back. Step the right foot towards the hands and open up for warrior two. So the right foot is forward and follow that left arm around. 2 breaths here in this first one. So really fill up the sides. You wanna like breathe into the sides of your ribs and expand it. And then exhale, draw it in. Another inhale. Stay for the exhale. And we'll bring our hands down like a windmill. Left foot is back, right leg goes up and back, bend the right knee, externally rotate the right hip. Step the right foot forward, warrior two on that right foot. Left leg opens up and you follow that left arm around, reaching those arms out in opposite directions. Windmill, hands land at the front, left toes turn and right leg lifts, then bend the right knee, open the right hip. Right foot steps, warrior two, follow that left arm up. Hands come around, 3-legged down dog, right knee bends, open the hip, step the right foot, warrior two, really you're in the exact same position. Hold here, and we'll do a few. Reverse, flip the right arm up, exhale, and reach the right arm up. Like my left hand in front of the ribs, or it can go down your leg. Inhale, come through center. Right forearm to right thigh, left arm sweeps over. So always going to encourage you, squeeze that left glute. Inhale, come through warrior two. Reverse your warrior, right arm reaches up with the exhale to explore what feels good in your body. Be a scientist here. Inhale, come back through center, form the thigh, left arm reaches over. We don't have any weird archaic rules in these classes. We'll bring it back. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, reach it up, reverse. We're just all trying to figure it out one step at a time. Inhale, come through, form to thigh, left arm over, warrior variation. Sweep that left arm down and come to parallel feet, side lunge to the left. Sit back in your left hip, side lunge to the right, sit back in your right hip. Keep going like that. So remember these side lunges. We're gonna move that hip back in space. Hip is moving back in space. Pull that femur bone back. Well, femur bone, draw back. Femur bone, draw back. It can be really helpful. Think of that literal leg bone moving back in that hip socket. And so this is some hip movement for you on this sequence. One more time to the left, one more time to the right. Walk the hands to the front, slide the right foot back, legs line up, lower, knees are not. Head of the arm bones stay lifted, parallel. So sorry, goalpost the arms or cactus the arms. I heard that the other day too and liked it. Palms are down, make a fist. You can release that forehead. Tuck your toes. This helps a little bit. Your forehead doesn't have to lift. Inhale, gather the breath and lift the belly. Lift the forearms, root your tailbone. This is just for those shoulders. So the forehead doesn't even have to lift. Might be so energized that it does, but it's not required. 2 more breaths here. You got this. Inhale. Lower it down. And everyone does all these crazy shoulder workouts, but like, right, you could probably just do this and you'd end up with amazing shoulders. Hands come down. Let's keep doing it and we'll all find out. Pressing the hands left into downward facing dog. I'll keep writing them if you keep showing up. All right, maybe no one will show up anymore. Come to the top of the mat. So again, you can bring your feet together, take a little step or a hop. Rise on up. We're in a mountain pose. We're gonna get a move that we found from time to time, side step squat. So in your rocket pose here, bring your hands to your side, step your right leg just like a foot or two off to the right, and literally just squat down. Then load your left leg, the leg that's still on the mat, and bring your right knee up. Yeah, there you go. So you step that right foot out, little squat, load your left leg, drive the right knee up. And let's just get into a little rhythm with that. I like, again, thumbs hooked in to where the legs are meeting my pelvis. So I can keep just encouraging, like, there you go, buddy, sit on down. You could be a little bit more parallel with your chest, getting a little bit more of that hip flexion. Just make sure you're not rounding too much, and also a little bit more upright. Well, that just might be the case if you're more restricted in the back. Okay, let's get like 2 more of these. And then we're gonna load the left leg and hold it. Bring the left hand on top of the right thigh. Press it, lift right thigh into the left hand, feeling that balance, stability, strength here. And then move your left hand from pressing into your right thigh onto your left side of the pelvis, right where that left leg meets the hip. Send the right leg back and bend the left knee a little bit for a bent knee airplane. The right leg could just be like hovering above the floor if you really want it for a little balance. Now take the right hand onto the left top of the thigh, kind of like our bridge. Bring it just above that knee. Feel supported in the chest, just like we were when we did our goal-posted cobra. I want you to feel the same action of your shoulder blades drawing onto the back ribs. Then look at your left foot. Feel like you could dial your left foot out to the left and move in the pelvis by starting to stack the right side of the pelvis on top of the left. Point your tailbone towards your right heel. And then bring that right side of the pelvis back in line, that left side. So we're doing a little ipsilateral rotation here. And then pressing into that left foot, feeling like the left foot would go dialing out, but it's a sensation to torque that left leg and strengthen it so that right side of the pelvis comes on top of the left. Close it off. You got this, right? Pressing that left foot. Yes, indeed, you did all the hard work to build up to it. Stack that right hip on top of the left, and then we're coming all the way down to a seated twist. So right knee behind the left ankle and sit down facing the left side of the mat. Either keep both the legs crossed or kick your right leg out underneath of you. And let's roll our shoulders. Good old classic here. Freeing up what we can around the ribs and the shoulders. Give me 2 more big breaths here. And get ready to face the back of the mat first. Twisted crescent. So we'll follow our right arm around. Left foot will stay at the top of the mat. Step the right foot to the back of the mat. Walk the hands around. Left hand's inside this right foot. You can find a block or something to stack up on or come up onto the fingertips. First, take the right hand to the left glute. Squeeze your left butt cheek and lift it up into your right hand. You can either keep it there or leaning into the left shoulder blade. You can rotate the ribs an inch or 2 open to the right. You can even reach the right arm up, but keep pushing into your left toes. Now, press into your left hand. Make sure those metacarpals are pressing into the ground. And then just like we did a moment ago with our half moon transition, feel like you could dial your left hand out to the left without actually moving it. And just feel how this now becomes a little bit like a back bend that you could lean into. You want to feel that sensation on those shoulder blades. Right hand comes down. Walk it all the way back to the top of the mat. Right foot steps to meet the left. Hinge at the hips. Inhale. Arms reach forward and up. Take it to the other side. So hands are going to come onto the hips. Step your left foot off of your mat. It's just like a foot or 2 out to the side. So it's not like a full side lunge. And then squat down. Load your right leg and bring your left knee up with you. Step that left leg out. Squat down. Load it. Extend. So we're first preparing this hip for that big airplane half moon drill transition. Waking up these muscles of the pelvis on the right side, giving that right leg a little sense of awareness and stability. if even if the left hand comes free, really like my right thumb hooked into that hip crease, helping me practice that step back. One more here, load the right leg and bring the left knee in front. Then take your right hand on top of your left thigh. It's like our core work. We're pressing into that right hand. And you want to feel some activation. Like I know I have some pretty sleepy adductors on my left side. Right away, they like start to scream at me. They're like, ah! So I know this is a good move for them. And, you know, it's a good scream. I can tell it's not like something I can't stand. I just know that they're underactive. And then let's start to extend this left leg back. So first take your right hand to that right side of the pelvis, then start to extend that left leg back. If you're flexing the right hip, take the left hand on top of the right thigh. Your toe might just be hovering, and that's fine. I'll show that variation here actually. So with that left hand secure, that right hand on the right side of the pelvis, look down at your right foot. Keep your big toe mound, so right where your big toe plugs into your foot, keep that really plugged into the ground. That helps too. Feel like you could dial your right foot out to the right. It's just a little lift to the left side of the pelvis. So here's where I do like that bend in the knee for both the half moon, bring your left hip back down in line with the right, and the airplane. I know it's more challenging, but it's going to stimulate more of those muscles on the side of the pelvis to help you stabilize. Start to dial that right foot out. It doesn't actually move. And then lift the left side of the pelvis on top of the right. Root your tailbone. So keep pointing your tailbone at your left foot. One more time, line it up, airplane style, and then bring it back into half moon or contralateral rotation of the pelvis. So that's when the pelvis is opening up into this half moon position, I'm pretty sure. And then ipsilateral, bringing it back down. So it's really true ipsilateral, bringing the left knee all the way down behind that right ankle. And we'll kick that left leg out. And again, if for some reason I have those mixed up, I'll email you all and tell you. We'll roll our shoulders back. Every single brain cell is firing right now. So, you know, some information might be getting a little mixed up. Pretty sure I'm right about that though. So keep it rolling. But I will admit, if not, free up the ribs. And then we'll get ready for our twisted crescent, the back of the mat. So we'll follow our left arm around. The right foot stays at the top, the left foot steps to the back. Walk your hands around. Your right foot's inside that left foot, probably by like 2 feet or at least like 1.5 feet. Give yourself some space. You're either on your palm or up on your fingertips, left hand on top of your right butt cheek. That's actually super important because you want to make sure you have that level pelvis. Well, why? Because I want you to open up your middle spine, not your low spine. So push in your right hand, pull that right shoulder blade onto the back ribs. Feel like you could dial your right hand out to the right, lift the right glute up into the hand, and you could balance your coffee right here on your sacrum. Maybe not really, but pretty close, right? So we're not letting it tip and spill the coffee. That won't feel good. One more breath here. You breathe out the lips. It can be very relieving for the neck. Then lower the left hand, follow yourself back around to the front. Step your left foot to meet your right. Rise on up and grab a little water. She says, wipe off some sweat because it's time for the stream. Again, it's sunnier and it's a good thing. It's sunnier in here than usual. So just coming up to the camera to check that my mat is still in place. It's actually kind of hard to see from my angle, which again, it's welcome. Great sunshine, it's nice and bright. So make sure you have a little water. You're ready to go. We will go to the back of the mat one more time than we did in like our actual little sequences, but I think that you've got that. It will not be too confusing for you. And then everything else will be the same with a few extra things, just, you know, thrown in there for fun. So come on up to the top and we'll get this, we'll go to the moon together. You already did the hard work too. So when it's time to open up to that half moon, you're just going to be ready for it. Come to the top, leave a little space for your fingertips, your palms to hit the ground. Why do we do that? I say it over and over again, but it's always worth going over to connect our shoulders into the earth. Arms are just They're by your side for so much of your life. Time to get them on the ground and feeling something. Inhale, feel something here too as you become your rocket. Inhale, arms reach forward. Now we're taking off. Put your fingertips together and press them. Light the shoulders up already. Yeah, there we go. Root the tailbone, and then exhale, hinge at the hips, hands or fingertips come down. Right foot steps back, right knee comes down. You can keep the toes tucked or untuck them. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. From here, bring your left hand down and make a little knuckle, then just lightly knuckle that right glute. Keep reaching up with the right arm, and if you feel good doing it, you can pull your ribs in and get a little side bend to the left. So all I mean by that is it might just feel good to reach upward and stick with that if that's great uncorking for you. But if you want a little extra, you can get a little more into your right hip. You get a little lean over to the left. But here's the deal. You gotta lift this right glute up because we don't want to just push the pressure down into the knee. Hold that pressure in the glute. Trust me, the glute can take it. The knee is not as happy about taking that. And then rise up. Just bring your right hand in front of your chest. Pull that shoulder back onto the back ribs. Take your left hand. You can check on that shoulder blade. Pull that arm bone into the shoulder socket. And then again, shoulder blade, pulled onto the back ribs. Right hand comes down. Plant that palm on the ground and slide that left foot back into modified side plank. Right away, the left leg will be lifted, pressing on that right hand. You could always lower the left leg if it's really challenging the balance. Option to bend the left knee and grab hold of the ankle, foot, shin. I like my toes. Root your tailbone to your left knee. And again, pull that zipper of the front of the body up into the sternum, into the chest. Press into the hands. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath here. Step the left foot up towards the right hand for your goddess pose. Right thigh gets a big external rotation. Both hands on the pelvis. And we're just going to be moving in the left hip here, going towards the back of the mat. So this is a new move. We're going to turn on our left toes, rolling the left thigh in, just kind of like sort of going to lunge, facing the back, and then rolling the left thigh out, landing the left heel and coming back into goddess. So we roll the left thigh in, face the back of the mat, roll the left thigh out, come back into that goddess. Roll the left thigh in, face the back of the mat, roll the left thigh out. Really nice. So just stick with that rhythm now. If you have a really sticky mat like I do, this nice little Lululemon, you can come onto carpet if it is a little smoother for you. You can also, always pick up that toe. So I actually am able to kind of do it on still my sticky mat, but I know for some people it's like really sticky. So just giving you that cue that you can lift it up if you need it. All right, let's get two more. Roll it in, roll it out. Roll it in, come into that goddess, windmill to the front of the mat. Right foot stays down, left leg goes back. Three-legged down dog, bend the left knee, externally rotate the left hip. Stay in three-legged down dog or lower onto your forearms in dolphin. You have an option there, so you can step on the hands or come down onto the forearms. Step your left foot forward. Obviously, you're going to lift off the forearms, open up for warrior two. Right arm comes around, left leg is forward, left foot, warrior two. Hands circle down, three-legged down dog. Left leg goes up or dolphin, forearms down, roll that left thigh open. Press in the hands, lift the forearms, step the left foot forward, rise up for your warrior two. So again, three-legged down dog or dolphin, both available. I'll show you the down dog variation. Hands come forward one more time, three-legged down dog or dolphin, lower the forearms or keep the hands on the ground. Last time here, step that left foot forward, warrior two, rise up. One time here, hand can come in front of the heart, inhale, exhale, lift up into the right hand and reach your left arm up. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, left forearm to left thigh. Right arm sweeps over the right ear. Squeeze your right glute. Powerful there. From here, sweep the right hand down. Side lunge to the right. Side lunge to the left. Sit the hips back. Keep moving. Throw a little extra twist to the torso. Sort of following the elbows around. Keep that core on. I've just been playing with this one lately and I like it. Come to the top of the mat, plank pose. Step the left foot back to meet the right. Lower, all the way to the ground. We'll go wide with the hands, but keep your fingertips down. We're tenting our palms off of the ground. Elbows point up. So if you look at your arms, you're kind of like making the shape of an M with them. Relax your forehead down. Again, tuck your toes. Root your tailbone and lift your belly and pull your fingertips back. One more breath and exhale, let it out. Hands come under the shoulders, lift, downward facing dog. So you're hoisting that pelvis in order to come up. Come to the top of the mat. You can do a little bend and straighten, little hop and pop, or you can step to the top of the mat. Really, it is your choice. Rise up, stand up tall. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Hands come to the side of the pelvis. Step the right foot out. Side step squat, hips go back. Press into the left foot, bring the right knee up. Press your left hand into your right thigh. We'll just do this 5 times. Right foot steps out, side step squat. Left hand presses into right thigh, load the left leg. Right foot steps out, side step squat. Left hand presses into the right. Right foot steps out, and then as it comes up, presses into the thigh. Steps out, as it comes up, steps into the thigh. One more time, because we're gonna hold this one. Press it into the hand. Hand presses into the thigh, and then release. Externally rotate the right thigh across the right ankle over the left thigh, and to whatever degree, sit your hips back and down to a figure 4. It might be very small. Feel yourself able to adjust. We don't want to crank that leg too much, but you know, I know your ankle can kind of be uncomfortable on the thigh, so put it in a place that feels good. And really just focus on your right thigh rolling out and your left thigh sitting backwards, like going back into the hip. All right, here's our big move. So still on that left leg, stand back up and cross that left ankle. Send the right leg back, airplane. Right hand can come on top of that left thigh, just above the knee. Spread the toes of the left foot, opening up for half moon. So before you go anywhere, root the tailbone, core is on. Dial the left foot out without actually moving it. So to hoist that right side of the pelvis on top of the left. So I like to bend my left knee, put my left forearm on my left thigh. And it's a really wonderful way to find support and strength in your core to get used to this challenging, very challenging single leg balance pose. If you're reaching your left hand down, I like that for balance, but don't let your left fingers drag you down to the ground. Still stay lifted. You're the moon. You're up there. You got your own pull of gravity here. Don't just let that hand take you down. And then we'll all lower down, right knee behind the left ankle, seated, spiral. You can kick your right leg out. This time, bring your left hand just down by your left side and just reach your right arm up and over and get a nice side bend. We'll take 3 breaths here. And then pressing that left hand, rise up. Walk your hands around to twisted crescent at the back of the mat. Step the right foot out. Left hand comes down. It's inside the right foot. Again, you can check your left glute. Make sure it's lifted. You can always lower your left knee, but again, do not collapse your hip. Still keep it lifted there. Right arm can come up. You can lean that left ear over into the left shoulder. Press the left hand. Feel like you're dialing it out. And you can also step your right foot back like a foot and then turn onto the pinky edge side of both of your feet. So they kind of turn outward in the direction of the side that you're opening up to the right. And lift your left hip away from the floor. So slide your foot back a little bit. That might feel even better. The front one. Does that feel good? Do you feel more opening? Nice, okay, cool. A little, kind of a strained that I got. Good. And then we'll walk it back. No, it's a good thing. Let's come into the middle for straddle. So you can even stand up here for a moment, collect your breath in this straddle. Feet will be wide. I'm fine with you bending your knees as much as you like in straddle. Keep your spine long. Hinge at your hips and your hands will come down. You could be up on your fingertips, but again, try not to round. Instead, I'll encourage you, just bend your knees a little. Right hand can be down, left arm up. Left hand will come down, right arm up. A little bit more of a dynamic twist here. We'll replace right, reach the left, replace with the left, reach the right. One more time. And then we'll bring it back to the front. Right foot steps to meet the left. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands come down. Left foot steps back, left knee comes down, toes can be tucked or untucked, arms reach forward and up. Bring the right hand into a little fist and then bring it back down onto that left glute. Keep reaching up with the left arm. Now either stay here if this feels fine, or give a little side bend if you want a little extra. So you'll know if like you're feeling a big pull on your ribs just from reaching up, that's probably a great place to be. Stick with that till that pull becomes maybe a little bit less, so it has more space. Left glute is on, so that's like your non-negotiable here. That right fist is pressing into that left glute. It's pressing back. Come on up. Left hand in front of the chest. Take your right hand to your left shoulder, right where that arm bone meets the shoulder joint. Pull that left arm bone back into the shoulder joint. Then bring your right hand down onto the left shoulder blade. Pull that shoulder blade down onto the back ribs. Press your left hand into the ground. Grab at the fingertips. Send your right leg back for modified side plank. Left shoulder blade is hugging onto those back ribs. So plug your left hand into the ground, right where your fingers meet the palms, and then grip with your fingertips. So that should really light up the whole hand. Strong here. Again, you can bend your right knee and grab the ankle, the foot, the shin. And so as you're opening this, you want to squeeze your right butt cheek. That's pushing forward, but we're not pushing our ribs forward. We're actually containing them. So again, you want to feel like there's like a zipper from here to here, and it's all coming inward. Step your right foot up to your left hand and rise up for that goddess. We have our little hip dip move. So hands to the side of the pelvis. Roll the right thigh in. So you got to lift that right heel. Point the right knee down to the ground. Your left toes turn a little bit too. And then you're rolling that right thigh open, landing the heel again. Roll the right knee and thigh inward. And then a little external. So a little medial and lateral rotation for you here. Rooting the tailbone. Again, as you come to the back of the mat, it's not like exactly a high lunge. So don't be too worried about the position of that left foot. Just keep moving it in a way that's comfortable for that left foot to stay grounded. And we're really just focusing on lubricating that right hip joint here, this femur, getting it internal and external rotation so that it's ready for that big airplane to half moon move. All right, let's get one more to the back. Come into that goddess, arms reach out, windmill to the front of the mat, step the right foot back to meet the left, plank pose. One more wide cobra, lower all the way to the ground. Hands come by the sides of the shoulders. They'll go really wide. Like really, your fingertips are probably like a foot away from your shoulders. Point your elbows up, relax your forehead, tuck your toes, point the tailbone and lift the belly. Inhale. One more breath. Really squeeze those shoulder blades together. That'll free up some space in your neck. Hands come under the shoulders, lift, downward facing dog. Nice, left foot is down, right leg lifts. Bend the right knee, externally rotate the right hip. Again, you can lower onto your forearms and make it a dolphin, or stay up on your hands in three-legged down dog. Step your right foot. So if you're in that dolphin, you gotta lift onto your hands and then rise up for warrior two. Right foot is forward. Windmill back down. Hands are down or forearms come down as the right leg lifts, and roll that right thigh open. Keep the pelvis neutral. Step the right foot up, warrior two. Follow the left arm around, right foot comes forward. Hands come down, stay up on the palms or lower the forearms. Roll the right thigh open, dolphin or down dog, three-legged. Step, rise up, warrior two. Where are we going? One more here, come back down. Three-legged down dog, forearm to thighs. Forearms to the ground, thigh rolls open. Step that right foot forward, warrior two. All right, let's gather here. One time, left hand in front of the heart, right arm reaches up, reverse your warrior. And then inhale, come through warrior two. Forearm to thigh, sweep the left arm over the left ear. Squeeze your left butt cheek, really root that thing down to your heels. Then sweep the left arm down, parallel the feet. Side lunge to the left, side lunge to the right. You can stay up high. You can throw some twists in here too. One hand down, you might just touch, fingertips down, just get a little extra engagement. Let it all hold together, and then walk it back to the front of the mat. So from here, we'll step the right leg back and we'll hoist that pelvis up high. So we just did our cobra a little earlier than we did it last time. From here, our feet will come together Bend and straighten, coil and spring, get a little hop at the top of the mat, or a float or a step, whatever you like better there. So come on down with control. We'll rise up high. Hands come to the sides of the pelvis. Left foot steps out to the side, side step squat. Load the right foot, right hand on top of the left leg, press against each other. Left foot steps out, side step squat, press on the right foot, right hand presses in the left thigh. Extra resistance there. Right foot presses, left leg lifts. Left foot steps out, side step squat. Well, side step squat, single leg balance press. 2 more. And then this last one, press and hold. Stay there, fire up this musculature. Again, I can feel it as adductors. What are you doing to us? Strengthening you, making you better. Hands come to the sides of the pelvis. Externally rotate the left thigh and cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Your figure 4 doesn't have to go low. You can even adjust it so that ankle feels comfortable on the right thigh. But then focus on that little lateral rotation, external rotation of that left hip. And then the right hip is sitting back. So pull that leg bone into the hip socket. By the way, spread the toes of the right foot. It'll help with that balance. One more breath here and then get ready for our big move of the day. Pressing the right foot, uncross that left ankle. You're back in that single leg balance. Left hand can come towards that right thigh as you come back to your airplane. Remember, left leg can be low to help your balance. Bend that right knee a little bit. Look at that right foot. Dial the right foot out. Moving that left side of the pelvis on top of the right side. Bring your right forearm to your right thigh. Bend your knee and push. So by pressing the right forearm into the right thigh here, you can get a little feedback, a little communication, a little talking going on. You spread your toes, you can reach the right hand down, but don't let that right hand pull you down. You can also hover it and reach the arms and do a little bit more of your classical half moon, whatever that means. Bring the left knee behind the right ankle and come to a seated spiral. Kick your left leg out. If you're like me, you need a little extra space for those hips. Right hand's by your side, left arm's up and over. You can bend your right elbow generously to take your 3 breaths here. And then rise on up, twisted crescent at the back of the mat. Step the left foot out, walk your hands to the back. Left foot is there, right hand is down. Left hand can come on top of the right cheek. Again, you can lower your knee at this point, but don't let your hip collapse. Or you can scoot your left foot back just like a foot or so, and then turn onto the out pinky edge sides of the feet. Lean into your right hand. And so it's a little bit like more of a side plank variation. So you are taking a good bit more load into your shoulders. 1 more breath here. And then we'll come to a straddle. Again, walk those hands around, hands come down. I'm actually gonna turn around to show this, but you can stay facing the same position. So bend your knees more. You bring the tops of your hands onto the mat, face the fingers in towards each other, and then bend your elbows and pull your hands apart. Relax your neck here too. That'll feel really good. Breathe through your lips. Separate that tissue of the back. Really pull your belly into your spine. And then walk it into your quadruped facing the front of the mat. So the knees come down, hands come down. Pull the chest forward, pushing the hands and spread the shoulder blades. Do that a couple of times. Waving the spine, or you can circle your ribs to the right, over to the left, and then the other way as well. So as you're pressing into those hands, feeling that chest open up, it's like everything just gathers together and comes back together. And then we'll bring ourselves around and down onto the ground. Have a nice little lay down in our Shavasana. So we were really heating it up. We got to the moon. Now it's time to come back. Now you can relax everything. Here is a place where the core doesn't even have to work for us, because, right, there's a balance to everything. And the reason we're cueing that core to be on so much for you in this lit yoga practice is because, unfortunately, most of our time we're spending not connected to our core, our physical core, our core values, our core selves. But then so too, when we've spent an hour holding on to that core, working it, we can also then explore the balance of finally letting it go and just letting it realign in the body, letting these movement patterns and these intentions today sink into our very being. So of course, you're definitely welcome to stay in Shavasana for longer. Either just keep laying here or pause the recording if that's what you're doing, and hit play when you're ready. So I'll take a big inhale and feel that breath come into the very tips of your fingers and your toes. When you exhale, maybe let a little wiggle come into those fingers and toes. You can inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Getting long through the body. And then let go with a sigh of relief. You can slowly start to gather the legs back in. Give a little rock from side to side. Roll over to one side and catch your legs into your torso. You rest your head on the lower arm. Just feel this collection, this journey that you took to the moon and back together, bringing your whole body, your whole system together. When you come into a challenging single leg balance like that, it's all got to be there. Every single player on the team's got to be doing their part. And if they're just playing a couple of minutes, it all matters. We'll bring the left hand, or whatever hand's on top really, press it into the ground and raise yourself up. So you just use that top arm, come into a comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you. Feel that change of energy in the body, that organization and that realignment. And again, just like a team, right? All these muscles, they all have their parts to play. They all have different roles to play. different skills. And so when we run our practices and we go through the drills, we get to really test those players and put them at the top of their game. And so I hope you feel like your team is coordinated and ready for the big game that is every single day. And the light in me honors the light that shines in each and every one of you, not a scar. And all those lights are shining for you. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the day. Thank you to my lovely assistant, who always